Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. My name is Adam. I'm here with Yus.
What's up, guys?
Everyone put your pencils down. The transfer window is now over. No more deals after a pretty depressing transfer window, Yus, right? We got Griezmann going to Atletico on a loan deal with a mandatory buy. We got Emerson going to Tottenham. We have Collado not going to the Championship League in England. We have Ilaix going to RB Leipzig. And we have Luuk De Jong coming from Sevilla over to Barca. Yus, I know that we are just seeing the reaping of the seeds sown by Bartomeu and the awful financial situation we're in. I know Laporta clearly overhyped us all on what was possible, and I don't think he was really honest with us about what we could do with our finances, and so we're taken a little bit by surprise by what's going on. But let's start with Griezmann, Yus, because that's what everyone wants to talk about, right? As a Griezmann fan, I think me and Yus both during last season, especially, January, February, March, April, Copa del Rey, we saw Griezmann starting to take some form and get into a level of play we were happy with. But Yus, he's just been so awful these last three games of this season, and overall, just what a tremendously awful signing, right? Only a Copa del Rey trophy in 2 seasons at Barca, not being very prolific, not being very good on offense. It helps the club. We're losing a lot of wages, and we're getting $10 million from Atletico now, and they're going to pay us $40. But overall, just what a complete disaster that really just helps fully describe what the Bartomeu presidency was.
I mean, he wasn't worth the money that we put down to get a player like him, and we
not
gave
even
up,
close.
Yeah, and we gave up Luis Suarez, and we gave up last season's La Liga title to that team, right? So all we got in that transaction really was debt. At the end of the day,
paying wages.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, none of us expected that this would be a result of receiving Antoine Greizmann over the last 2 years.
The crazy part is, man, it goes back even a year before that. If you remember the year before we got Griezmann, he had this whole decision where it seemed like he was coming to Barca after the World Cup with all this hype, and then he, last minute seemed to just switch the flip and not come. And so Griezmann the whole time has really been awful. I mean, we had a preseason video where we talked about Griezmann, and one thing you got to say about the guy is he always gave it his all, it looked like, and he did seem to love the club. So, you can't fault him on a personal level, but on a performance level as a player, really just didn't seem to get it going. And, it's emblematic of all the players we've had the last few seasons where we get all these big signings, Coutinho, Dembele, Griezmann, and they all seem to perform worse on Barca than they did on their previous teams.
But how's it possible that we've made so many what's the word I want to say here? So many
It's Bartomeu. I think you can ask what is the reason why we've made so many signings that clearly don't fit in with our team?
Sure.
Right? And I think it goes back to Bartomeu. He really had no idea for how to run the club in an effective way and set us up for the future. Right?
Well, he just saw these big names, and he was like, wow, if I can get this at Barcelona, I don't care how much money it takes. We're going to throw it at it.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
We had so much money infused in us after we got rid of Neymar, and it went to Dembele, Coutinho, and Griezmann. And, I love Dembele. You guys all know I'm a big Dembouz guy, but that has been a disastrous signing. Griezmann has been disastrous. Coutinho has been disastrous. I mean, when you think about why the club wasn't able to do more for Messi, when you think about why we're in this financial wreck and we couldn't even keep the greatest player of all time, the Copa America champion who used doesn't like Lionel Messi, it's because of Bartomeu, right? But we've said our piece about Griezmann. There is some things to mention, right? There was originally today actually some rumors that we might get Joao Felix in exchange for Griezmann. I thought that was a pipe dream. There's no reason why Atletico would give him to us.
They don't have to do that. It is kind of crazy. Yeah.
Cavani was, mentioned that he was going to come. Didn't happen. And overall, I'm just left so nervous because now Atletico, after just winning the La Liga title, have added Rodrigo de Paul. They've added Griezmann. I mean, they keep having these wonderful summers, and yet we just keep, sticking in the mud. But let's move on, Yus. Right? The next thing we got to talk about is Emerson going to Tottenham. And Yus, ask me this question: who were my 2 most disappointing players of the first 3 games? Short sample size, but 3 games of the season so far.
Adam, who are the most disappointing players of these last 3 games? Go ahead and tell me.
Griezmann and Emerson, right? I think without a doubt, you and I were really not impressed by Emerson. So is it the biggest deal that, Emerson is going to Tottenham? I don't think so. I mean, I didn't see that much. I mean, we said it in our last video. He needed more time to try and get up to speed and playing with our team. But what I think is the worst part about this use, and we're starting to turn against Laporta a little bit on this YouTube podcast, right? Because here's the thing, and it just makes me so mad at the signing of Emerson. Laporta had a quote where he said Emerson will stay at Barca for many years, right? And again, it seems like Laporta's lying to me. Use
false hopes. He's done this, and that's how he got into this position, right? He ran on the fact that he was going to bring or keep Lionel Messi at FC Barcelona after some terrible few years under Bartomeu, and he kept on saying we're going to vote. The socios are going to vote on the Super League. Both those things didn't happen. Now we have Emerson saying, "Oh, he's going to stay here for years." And dude, he left in 2 months, right? And he played 3 games on the team, really. And at the end of the day, I'm kind of like, Barcelona is making decisions at this point mainly for money, and it has to be. We already know it's bad, but it has to be even more bad than they let us know. Go ahead.
So, on one hand, we get $30 million from Tottenham for Emerson. However, with the money we have to give to Betis for the deal, it's not going to end up being actually. I heard it's going to be somewhere near $10 million we actually get, but that'll look better for the books, which is what Laporta wants. But overall, it just seems like the club wasn't honest to us. And they didn't give us a clear guideline. Like, right, if we went into Laporta's election with him letting us know, like, hey, we're going to have to sell some dead weight. The books are really bad. We could have been mentally prepared for that. In Laporta's defense, 2 things, right? One, he didn't have full access to the books, probably didn't know the depth of the situation because it seemed like, the Monday before Messi couldn't sign with us, we figured out more details. The other thing is, it's not that sexy, right, to run for president of Barcelona with Messi on the team still and be like, hey, I'm going to, chop the shop because we need to get money. So I understand why this happened, but it just, even giving those 2 big facts, right, granted they are big facts, into the equation, it just seems like the club hasn't been honest to us about what the path we were going to take is. And so now we're left, right, with no Griezmann, with no Emerson, right? Collado, he was supposed to go to the championship, I think to Sheffield United in England, play in the Championship League, the second tier of the English football system. And that was going to be good for him because I thought he could get some time there. He seems like a very promising young player. He would develop. That didn't happen, right? Ilaix is the last big one I think we have to talk about. Ilaix officially going to RB Leipzig. I think we got about 15 million euros for him. Again, this is a situation where it seems like a lot of the, unlike Griezmann, unlike Emerson, it seems like a lot of the issues were on Ilaix's team, and we've talked about it a lot on this episode. But what are your final thoughts on Ilaix going to RB Leipzig? That was reported a few weeks ago.
Let him go. I'm happy that he's going somewhere he may be paid more or whatever he was looking for. I hope he finds it at another team. FC Barcelona is not that place for him. I've said this before, and I think that he's doing it for himself, and he's not doing it for the love of the club. And at this point, we got to keep players that are doing things that love the club and want the best for it and its future. And right now, those are the things that are most important. And that kind of goes to say, yeah, I know, I agree. And he's been there since He's been there since 2010, grown up in La Masia with us. He posted
that picture of him and Messi when he was like a young kid and Messi was young, and then he posted the picture of him and Messi old on the same team after Ilaix scored, hugging, and it was like one of the most liked, retweeted pictures on Twitter I've ever seen. And for it to come down crashing after only a season on the first team just seems so bad. But this one, like we were saying, it doesn't really all go on the club. So, I think the last news we got today, right, to round out the transfer news and kind of what's going on, is that Jordi Alba and Busquets took a pay cut. Not only a pay cut on the front end, they're also deferring some of their payments in order to help the club. That's why we were able to sign Sergio Aguero this week. We were also able to, fully sign Yusuf Demir. It looks like because some players are leaving, the whole number issue from Mingueza is going to be gone. But our old friend Sergio Roberto is apparently balking at the offer that they have given him, and so some of his wage cut hasn't gone through yet. Yus, lay it on me. What are your final thoughts as we round out this transfer news, and then we're going to head into a big game where I think we're going to get smoked against Bayern Munich in not too distant of a future here?
At the end of the day, this is a lot to absorb, and I think that's the hard part in this situation. It came to the last final day of the transfer window. August 31st, and I didn't think that so much was going to happen, and I think everybody else did not expect Griezmann just floating right back over to Atletico Madrid. I think it kind of leaves me with a sour taste. I know that we kind of fill in the void a little bit with Luuk De Jong, who's coming in for about $1 million wage. And that doesn't really give me too much of a hope. He's just another Dutch player. He's 28 years old. I don't know if he's going to fall into too much of a... he might do better than Griezmann, who did nothing in the last 3 games. But
he could be a rock, and
true.
he would do better than Griezmann has, right? And,
True.
Luuk De Jong, one interesting thing is, right, of course, with the last name, he's got that Dutch relationship that I'm sure Koeman is super happy about. The other thing is Koeman has been really vocal, at least in the press, about needing another number 9. So
True.
I guess this... answers his prayers. I mean, I don't know if it's because he doesn't believe in Braithwaite. With so many rumors about Braithwaite leaving this summer, maybe, Koeman doesn't believe in him, and, not a lot of us really believe in him either. And so, it leaves us with a pretty weakened front line, right? Before, we had all these players who could be up there playing and who we felt confident in. Now we have Depay, we have Braithwaite, we have Fati, who's coming back from an injury, and we don't know how healthy his knee's going to be for the whole season. We have Dembele, who's injured but going to be coming back, sometime later in the fall. We have Coutinho, who's been injured, who's coming back. We have Sergio Aguero, who's been injured and coming back. So, that front line is not looking really healthy or really good. And so, I get why he wants to get De Jong because he offers us, someone who can play up front and hopefully connect well with Depay. But that front line's not looking good, Yus.
I know, but, think of it like this. We've had such a hectic last few years. Everything's fallen. We've been ups and downs, and at this point, I feel like we're just trying to get some crutches underneath our legs so we can shovel ourselves through the game that's coming against the Champions League this next after the international break, which is weird because we were supposed to play Sevilla, and then that got postponed, and now we have Bayern. But, whatever. At the end of the day, Adam, we're going to move forward from this. We're going to grow. We're going to get better. I know it's going to be a rough year, but, the Barca fans, me and you, we got this. We're going to get through it. And with that,
positive news for once. I love it. Well, hey, everyone, please hit that subscribe button. Let us know in your comments what you think about, the different deals we made. If you're happy or sad Griezmann is gone, how do you think we're going to be on the goal-scoring front? And we will see you very shortly. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.